Sripad Paramsa Pariyachara shows divine grace. Aisi Bhakti Prabhupada ki, Ananta Kodi Vaishnavinda ki, Namacharya Ras Thakur ki, प्रेम से हो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की, श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ भगवान की, जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा की, श्री गौर निताय की. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So we are continuing our discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, verse number 31. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Brimshati Anusmita Chitam Jnana Brahmshaha Smriti She Tatrodam Kavaya Prabhu Atma Phanavam Atmanaha Brimshati Anumishtischitam Jnana Brahmsham Smriti Shaye Tatrodam Kavaya Prabhu Atma Navam Atmanaha Brimshyati Anusmrishitam Jnana Brahmsha Smriti Shaye Tatrodam Kavaya Prabhu Atma Phanavam Atmanaha Brimshati Anushtishchitam Jnana Brahmshaha Smriti Shaye Tatrodam Kavaya Prabhu Atma Phanavam Atmanaha Ti Anushchitam Jnana Brahmsha Smriti Shaye So word by word translation. Brahmshyati, become destroyed. Anushmritai, constantly thinking. Chittam, consciousness. Jnana Brahmshaha, bereft of real knowledge. Smriti Shaye, by destruction of remembrance. Tadrodham, choking the process. Kavaya, great learned scholars. Prabhu, that have opined, Atma, of the soul. Apanavam, destruction. Atmanaha, of the soul. Translation and purport of Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When one deviates from his original consciousness, he loses the capacity to remember his previous position or recognizes his present one. When remembrance is lost, all knowledge acquired is based on a false foundation. When this occurs, learned scholars consider that the soul is lost. Purport: the living entity or the soul is ever existing and eternal. It cannot be lost, but learned scholars say that it is lost when actual knowledge is not working. That is the difference between animals and human beings. According to less intelligent scholars, animals have no souls, but factually animals have souls. Due to the animals' gross ignorance, however, it appears that they have lost their soul. Without the soul, a body cannot move. That is the difference between a living body and a dead body. When the soul is out of the body and the body is out of the body is called dead. The soul is said to be lost when there is no proper knowledge exhibited. Our original consciousness is Krishna consciousness because we are part and parcel of Krishna. When this consciousness is misguided and one is put into the material atmosphere which pollutes the original consciousness, one thinks that he is the product of the material element. Thus one loses his real remembrance of his position as part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just as a man who sleeps forgets himself. In this way, when the activities of proper consciousness are checked, all the activities of the lost soul are performed on the false basis. At the present moment, human civilization is acting on the false platform of bodily identification. Therefore, it can be said that the people of this present age have lost their soul, and in this respect they have no better than animals. Let's say the Mangalacharan together. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Takshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stvapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Charitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saghana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Shute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patithanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna everyone. Thank you for being here from the Sunday morning Bhagavatam class. hope we don't have a lot of complaints from the online viewers. Okay. So this chapter is titled Prithu Maharaj's meeting with the four Kumaras. So just look, and we are all here sitting and listening to the Bhagavatam class, and we need to be a little more knowledgeable about the scripture, and we expect maturity comes at the age where you actually understand more about life and you go through certain difficulties so that you look for a certain purpose in life. But here, when Prithu Maharaj is meeting the four Kumaras are just boys, 5-year-old boys, and they got the boon from Narada Muni that they don't want to grow up. They just want to remain as balakas or little boys, because when you grow up you get different desires and deviating from your innocent nature. So these four boys who are basically they're just boys, 5-year-old boys, they're not even dressed up. So they just enter the kingdom of Prithu Maharaj, and Prithu Maharaj, who's considered as one of the great Vaishnavas, he's actually welcoming them and respecting them and giving all the respects that you give for a senior sannyasi or a saint. And then he's making all four sit in one throne or asana, where you can, if you go upstairs, there's a nice picture of the four Kumaras preaching to Prithu Maharaj, and Prithu Maharaj is asking them questions about life, which many of us found out through mercy of Radha Gopinath, through book distributors, through Prasadam distribution, and we are here understanding the purpose of life. But they knew it, and Prithu Maharaj is actually asking these wonderful questions about life. And here in their discussion they are telling that when one's original consciousness is deviated, he loses capacity to remember his previous position or recognize his present one. As we all know, it's one of the most basic knowledge that we get when we enter Krishna consciousness, Atato Brahma Jignasa, which says our human life begins the much better. Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So with our current way life is, I'm remembered of this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. Prayena alpa ayusha sabda kalosmin yuge jana manda sumanda matayo manda bhagyo hi upadrita. Srimad Bhagavatam says, O learned one, in this iron age of Kali, men have been short-lived, they are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. Now when I first read ever in my life this verse, when I went through this, they are quarrelsome, not everyone, Lazy, you see some people who are really motivated, right, and achievers. Unlucky, yes, there are, but then you also see successful people. And when I read this one, and above all, upadritaha, which means always disturbed, then it said, yes, that is true. No matter what we have, no matter what we don't have, no matter we are rich, poor, young, old, anything in between, we're always disturbed. People in this material world always disturbed. And I used to wonder, before coming to Krishna consciousness, I was always thinking about what is that one religion which actually has the universal purpose. Because everybody teaches different ones. Oh, my religion is better, this religion is better. When you follow this one, you actually go to heaven. If not, then you're doomed in hell. And I was like, it's not possible to be like that. Because once you die, so once people understand that after die there is something, first they have to come to relation, there is something after death. I was always bewildered when I was small that beyond these clouds, is there a queue? Oh, you are a Jain, okay, you go join this queue. Or you're a Christian, you go on to join this queue. Or you are a Hindu, you join this queue. Muslim, you are a Rabbi, you're a Jew. Like that can't be the case, because there should be one single principle that governs the whole. What is the meaning of these different religions? So, but when I came in touch with Prabhupada's books and Krishna consciousness, everything was about principle, universal principle. Like when we eat, everybody, whether you're whichever religion, caste, or whichever nationality you belong to, the hunger goes away. Now then one of the things that strike me is like the 4 defects of the human beings and the 4 kinds of miseries that everybody undergoes. It said like it's not about anything about a sectarian religion, sectarian set of people. And when I actually I invited one of my previous colleagues to Nityananda Maharaj's retreat, I sent some notes about one of the articles of Krishna consciousness, so that she was a Christian Christian by faith. I asked, just read through it. It's not about anything about. So I told it's about the way of life. Bhagavad Gita talks the way of life, and then she said, okay, I'll go through it. And she came back. She didn't end up coming, but she said like it's very interesting that never in this presentation that I took from ISKCON Desire Tree talks about conversion. It talks about how you can become a better person, not about converting from one religion to another. So she was impressed. Anyway, it didn't come, but she read it. That's the most important thing. Now here we see that we're all disturbed because we've lost our consciousness. When that does happen is because when we turned our direction from Krishna towards desire, and that's where it actually happens. The consciousness changes from spiritual to material. Now in a material world, what we always want to do, when you see a map, when you're in a theme park or something like that, what is the first thing that you look in the map? Where are you? Right? Where are you? So in the material world, this is the main consciousness. When I'm there, what is in it for me? When you go to a temple too, what is in it for me? When you go to a party, what's in it for me? When you go for a job, what's in it for me? We always value everything around and what's in it for me. What am I going to gain? Rather than what is that I can give. That's where Krishna consciousness is amazing. When I first heard that this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra that we chant every day, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's the meaning of this mantra. Without knowing the nitty-gritties, is that, Lord, allow me to serve you. I said like, wow, this is amazing. I've never heard this kind of a prayer, because every time when you're small, the way you've been taught by parents or by society is go to God, ask for good marks, to be a good person, that I need this job.
I need something, and it never even, in the sense, it becomes so of natural that you don't even question, or is it anything that I need to ask other than that? Because you go to dad and you ask for money, for your pocket money. Similarly, it's just that same nature, same behavior going towards a higher personality, asking for things that dad can't provide. Dad can't provide job because he knows only his area of expertise. So, but there's another person who knows, who can actually help everyone. So that continues. And then what happens? We grow up teaching the same thing. But when we get in touch with Guru Parampara or the devotees of the Lord, that's when we are actually taught that what is our real position. Our real position is that we are servant of the Lord, or we are actually the sons and daughters of the Lord, and the Lord is more eager for us to come back to Him rather than how eager we are. Because as practicing devotees, we know the theory, we know everything. But then how eager are we in practicing devotional service? We have days where it's really hard to even finish 16 rounds. So like I don't want to do it anything. I just want to have a wasted day. We go through some days like that. No matter how much, like the philosophy and everything we learn, because that's the laziness. But we should not be demotivated because we are in the 0.001% of people in the whole world who understand at least the purpose of life. When you understand what as a purpose, then 50% of the battle is won. Now the great scientists are understanding why this earth was created, how it was created. They still don't know how it's created. They still think Big Bang theory is one of the valid theories. And Srimad Bhagavatam in the first 3 canto talks about creation, creation, creation. Right? And they don't want to take this knowledge because they think it's mythology. And they want to create in their own experimental lab how this universe was created. Now the whole robotics and everything forms on the same principle. Like there is one creator who's created certain human beings, and after that he's left them alone, and they actually have their own mind and they create more. But a scientist cannot and wants to know that how can I create a robot which can actually create itself and then just function all by itself. They're still not able to find out. Now they are trying to find out all these things, and we know, as just sitting here without any scholarship knowledge, that the whole purpose of this world is to frustrate us. Right? No matter what you do, end of the day, what you get out of this world? Frustration. And sometimes people think God should be a sadist to do that. But no, God is not a sadist. When a child is gone wayward, out of his way, the dad will try to bring him back in every possible way. But when the child is so adamant, the dad can pull the child towards him if the child is small. But when you have teenage daughters and teenage sons, and we understand when we were in teenage how rebellious we were. Right? When it said in one of the South Indian Alvar's prayers that when a doctor picks up a knife and cuts your body open to take the tumor out, we consider the dog to be God, the doctor to be like God. But if the same God, using the knife of detachment, cuts something out of your life just so you don't suffer, because attachment is a great suffering. When he does that, what we think? Oh my God, God has been unfair to me. Right? We said it's not fair. Why me? Why me? So that comes from without having the knowledge that what is the purpose behind the universe. And I'm here giving Bhagavatam class and putting tilak and everything, and I have experiences of going through, even being in Krishna conscious, going through periods of life where there is so much attachment to certain things and you want to get out of it, but you're you are actually stuck by it. You're just disturbed by those things. You cannot chant. You think that sometimes these things are not actually quite important compared to the path that I have chosen. But then it actually, the mind, and there is a constant battle between the mind and the heart. The mind will say all these different things. The heart will say, no, you have to do this. But mind says, no. But like there was a time when you are like really enthusiastic in Krishna consciousness and everything, you go and pray to Krishna. Krishna, take away everything that's an obstacle to my devotional service, right? But you will see, you can't say that prayer when you have attachment to certain something. Then you say, like, when you say that, oh God, I don't want to say this prayer now, because if he takes that thing out of my life, then I can't be without that, right? So there are certain times. So what do you do at those point of time? You don't fight it, because there is a natural flow of life. And Krishna, if you think that whatever situation that you're in, attachment you're in, is for your purification, you just pray to him like, I know it's not good, but I'm still attached. Help me out. I'm just like a child. Oh my God, I have something in my power, but I don't know how to use it. I broke it. Now dad's going to come and scold me. I don't know what to do. What does a kid do? As soon as the dad comes, if the kid just says, I'm so sorry, Dad, I broke it, I didn't mean to, then daddy will be like, the father will be like, okay, he's at least understood that he's done something wrong. So let's try to help him. Now if the kid goes on the other hand, being on the denial, I don't know, it broke, I don't know. I was just on the other room and I just heard a noise and I came back and it was down. So when that happens, what does the dad do? It's like, I want to know the truth, what happened there. And you'll get on your case. But then when you actually tell your weaknesses to the Lord, that I know this is wrong, but I don't know how to help myself. So please save me, help me. Then you look at 2 years from then, or like a year, then you'll see that attachment itself will be a source of realization for you, and it'll actually get you through some difficult phases of life. Because we all go through that. And here it Prabhupada says that when one loses his real remembrance of this portion as part and parcel, he is just like a man who sleeps, forgets himself. And that's exactly our situation. It is said that when you are going back to Goloka Vrindavan, it's not like when you go from here to, let's say, from ISKCON Sydney temple to somewhere like Melbourne temple, or like, you go to you relocate to another temple or location, they'll introduce you to, oh, he's from Sydney and he's going to stay in the temple, and they introduce everything. It's not like that. When you actually go back to the spiritual world, it's like suddenly you just woken up from your sleep and then you continue. You know everybody there. It's not like Krishna introduced you, oh, this is my mother, this is my father, and everything. No. That most of the important personalities we learn. But then your intimate friend in Sri Goloka Vrindavan, where you actually play around and then make those secret plans how to give pleasure to Radha and Krishna, this guy, you'll just wake up and, hey, what happened? Why didn't you wake me up earlier? Let's go. And it just happens like that. So we are in the sleeping state, thinking that what is not true to be true, which is called illusion, which is called Maya. When you wake up, then it's a different story. And that's where it says, I like this verse in Bhagavad Gita where it says like where the mind is the best friend for those who have controlled, and the mind is a worst enemy for those whose mind is not controlled. But then the verse after that, it says, the one who has controlled the mind, the Paramatma has already reached. I'm like, it feels like it's so close but so far, right? You just have to control the mind, and then you reach Paramatma, which is what the yogis have been aspiring for, doing tapasya, doing doing a lot of sacrifices, austerities, sitting in the cold, sitting in the heat, in the Himalayas. Now, just that, control the mind and you actually reach the Paramatma. Easier said than done though. We are still in the anartha nivriti, which is the clearing of the phase of all the impurities in our within our consciousness. That phase is the most hardest phase in the 9 steps from Shraddha to Prema. So Shraddha is the faith, and then Prema is the destination. So there are in that the third part is anartha nivriti. So that part takes bulk of our spiritual journey, just getting out those impurities. After that, kind of seems like a downhill drive. Until then, it's like quite a uphill battle. You just try, when you go to the gym, like they ask you to do the 45 seconds routine. When you hit 30 seconds, your body is aching. You just can't do anything. But then you just somehow, it's just a little bit, you just keep pushing. That's the whole point. That's harder because we are still in the sleeping mode. We think that there is some enjoyment, but we are in a good place where we kind of understand that this is only going to frustrate us, and then this is only going to put us down. So let's keep trying. When you go for a big marathon for 40 kilometers or something like that, you'll go through 35 easily, because one who's a marathon runner, of course, he's practicing for it. The last bit is where it is more of the mind than the body, than the physical exhaustion. So everybody who's sitting here and listening and who's chanting and everything, they have actually crossed through the physical exhaustion. They know that there is no point in actually working so hard in this material world. So they have come to the point where I need to just work on my mind. Now that's a big industry now. Mental health is a big industry, because they have understood that it can bring a lot of money, and it's beneficial as well. It's beneficial as well. But the one thing that is missing in all those mental health and motivational speeches is that Krishna is the missing piece. When you add Krishna, then you have purpose for why you need to control your mind. Otherwise, you can control your mind and still come back. And that's the problem. Anyway, so the 2 things that I wanted to focus on in this verse is association and devotional service. Now, the reason why we actually continue to remain sometimes in that lost consciousness is because of lack of association. We came in touch with a book distributor in the street. We came in touch with a prasadam. We came in touch with some devotee by the Lord's arrangement or by Agnana Sukriti, like unforeseen auspiciousness which just happened. Because of that interaction with the devotee and or some object of devotion that's been offered to the Lordship, we are actually here. Now in that consciousness, we have to continue. But there are some times, even with that, we might fall down. There is a past time where, what's the time? Okay, there's a past time where there was a brahmachari who was living in the ashram, the Gurukul of the Guru, and he was serving the Guru very well, and he was a very wonderful devotee. But he had this desire that, okay, I want to go and explore other things outside. So he told his Guru that I want to explore more. So I've learnt enough, so I want to go out and lead a life which is like how a normal person lives, with the teachings that you learn. The Guru looks at him and then says, okay, before you go and get some fire roots, collect some fire roots, and then you can go. And then he comes, and then the next day morning he leaves the ashram. Then he gets accustomed with the places about what to do, because when you go out, then you have to earn. You have to take care of livelihood. So he actually started selling some ornaments, ladies' ornaments and everything. So every day he goes out and has this business of selling and then getting money. And then one day he happened to pass through a palace, and then the ladies from the palace were like, calling him, "Oh, you got nice ornaments, come in, like we need to buy some." Then he comes, and then they say like, "Oh, you come inside," and they took him to the interior quarters of the palace where only ladies are supposed to be. He felt something wrong. He felt like, is it safe for me? No, no, it's we just us. You can come, you can come. So he was there, and then the ladies were actually like, looking at the jewels and everything. Suddenly the king comes, and when he sees this guy in the interior quarters of the palace where only ladies and queens and princes are need to be there, he got really mad. He said, "How dare you come into the interior quarters of the palace?" He ordered his soldiers, they just dragged him out, and the king was so like, somebody just coming into your house and sitting in your bedroom, suddenly you don't know who he is. You get really upset and angry, and being a king with the Kshatriya blood, he want to really do something. So he ordered that this guy needs to be beheaded in the middle of in the center of the city, the town. So he's like bamboos, like what happened? I didn't do anything wrong. I was just trying to do my thing. And then there he is on the day when he was supposed to be beheaded. They put his head on whatever it is where they have to chop his head off. And then this guy at that point of time, he realized that that's it. This is going to end here. And then he was just looking at all the people who have actually gathered there to watch this. And then in the middle of all the faces, he sees a familiar face. And he looks at him and he says, and he sees whose that is. Because think about his mind, head is going to be chopped off. He's just trying to feel who is that. And he sees his spiritual master. And then his spiritual master is saying something. He said like, what is he saying? He's just saying something. And he just focuses more and he says, "Where is the wood fire that I asked you to collect?" And then he suddenly is like, "What?" And then is literally his spiritual master wakes him up. It's actually a dream. It's a dream. The spiritual master in the dream gave him a vision of the future, that what will happen once you leave the protection of this association or the spiritual atmosphere. Because even with the knowledge and everything, there is possibility because of this world, you can actually pulled in different directions, even without you doing anything wrong. Without you doing anything wrong. So we don't have the luxury of staying in a Gurukul and everything, but then the luxury that we have is Srila Prabhupada's community or the society he has built, where we can actually take shelter. I went to India for a couple of weeks to meet my parents. I took them to some dham and everything. But my realization is 2, 3, 4 weeks is okay. After 4 weeks, even though I go to dham and like all these things and everything, I start to feel less of a devotee. Because I'm like, okay, it's nice, but then that nourishment that you get, like you're chanting, you're reading something, everything is there. But then because I still go to the temple there a couple of times, the ISKCON temple in my hometown, but then the association with devotees, even if you're fighting, even if you disagree with the devotee, even if you disagree with the person who having a tilak, still you get remembered of Krishna. Even when that happens, that interaction with devotees, as I said, like we became devotees just because we're not appreciating a devotee, but he's giving us a book, and then that interaction and that knowledge made us take up spirituality. So even now we are chanting and other devotees chanting, even if the interaction is not good, just interacting, that itself nourishes our soul. Because that is what the soul requires. He needs to see someone who's actually nourishing that part of the body, which is the soul. Because everything else is actually nourishing just the exterior. Like how Prabhupada says, when you have if you have a golden cage and a bird inside, if you just keep polishing the golden cage, the bird is going to die. Similarly, even if the bird is given sometimes bad food or something, but food is needed. If you don't give food and then just keep polishing the golden cage, the bird will at one point of time die. So that is very important, that association. Now the spiritual master gave him that vision of, because of his power, gave him the vision of that, and he said, okay, no, I think I'm better safe here rather than going and trying it out. But anyway, and another thing that I want to focus on, devotional service. Now devotional service is a very practical way to prove to the Lord that I am alive in this. This is that actually makes us immortal in Krishna conscious spiritual life. Because what are you going to do? Okay, we are chanting and doing everything. Okay, now when you chant, what were you doing? What are we asking for? Please engage me in your service. And when you go to spiritual world, do you think you're going to sit and chant your prescribed number of rounds before you start the day? No. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's thing, it becomes part of your life. Whether now, like Toshan Krishna Prabhu in one of the Bhagavatam classes said something, and it just kind of blew my mind away. We always think like, oh, those people are people who are outside are like non-devotees, they don't understand. And we think about people who are, at least I think, people who are just chanting one round, 4 rounds, they're like, they're not up to the standard. I'm chanting 16 rounds and I'm initiated. Okay, and all these things. We have this pride. And when Prabhu said, like when he met his spiritual master, Radha Govind Maharaj, like Bhagavatam classes for neophytes. I was like, what? Bhagavatam class for neophytes? You're supposed to read Bhagavatam and you assimilated the knowledge of the Bhagavatam and you're speaking out and you're actually listening. Even sitting in the Bhagavatam class is such an exalter. How hard it is to bring somebody to sit in Bhagavatam class. Then he said, yes, Bhagavatam class for neophytes, because they can only focus, they only want to relish Bhagavatam for 1 hour in a day. So for a enlightened soul, or a transcendental soul, they want to relish Bhagavatam for the whole 24 hours. It's like us, every given point of time we check what's the message in WhatsApp, what's in Insta, what's the cricket score, everything. We just have this demon with us. We can't throw it away, but we know that it's a demon. That's what we are. Yeah. And one of my friend actually like tried to go to the old Nokia type model, but then he couldn't survive for a week. Because anything it does, like book a taxi, anything is like he calls them and it's like, just download our app and order it. So you can't exist without this evil. So there, but if we actually have that thing, like that consciousness, will be like every 2 minutes, we'll be looking at Bhagavatam. We'll be like, even in the phone, like checking Bhagavatam. We don't do that. We only put, okay, half an hour is for reading. And that too, we struggle hard to make that half an hour, 1 hour for reading. Rest is my time. But anyway, we are all on the path of actually getting to the path of pure devotion. We are all, after some point of time, accept the fact we are aspiring devotees and we are not devotees yet. So we are on the path. And that devotional service is one thing which will keep us eternal, because that will actually nourish us, because we are in this material world because of our passion. Prabhupada said, like, we can just sit and chant. That's our business. Do 24-hour kirtan. But then we're all passionate inside. We need something to do. We need to feel important. We need to achieve something. Like even at work, somebody pays you, okay, and then he or she says, you don't have to do anything, you just sit there. It'll be like, really, as a devotee, it's like, wow, I can read and do everything. But then after a week, when you're not included in all the discussions that's happening, you'll feel, do they think that I don't do anything just because there's a choice, or do they think that I'm not worth enough, I'm not qualified to add some more value into their discussion? It actually starts to erode your confidence. But then if you talk and you give an idea and everything, then it's like you feel proud. You feel happy, you actually gave something. So this is the 3 modes of nature. It won't let you be happy even if nothing is there. And when there's too many things to do as well, it won't let you be happy. It will always frustrate you. Now, once you understand frustration is part of life, then you can go to the next part, which is okay. Let me see what I can do about it. So even if so then you come to a point where instead of getting frustrated in material life, let me get frustrated in spiritual life, because it at least has some progress, right? That happens. So what I wanted to say about devotional service as well is, we got Janmashtami coming next week. We are always looking for volunteers. Being in the Krishna conscious movement, I think we should be. I always hear about other people saying, oh, in other organizations they sometimes say there's no service available because we got enough people. And one of the biggest dreams is like, we should also come to a point where we should say no to people. Sorry, Prabhu, there's no service today. You need to go home, or you just chant, There are enough people. We can't take any more. But we are struggling, which is the reality we are in, and that's okay. We are still struggling in Krishna consciousness. That's accepted as well. So if you reach out to some of the people, volunteer coordination team or anyone, ask the whole thing that you need to just ask them what I can do, and depending on your capacity and availability, everybody has life happening around as well. So in small ways we can serve Radha Gopinath, and the ultimate aim is like for Janmashtami is one of the biggest festivals that we have. When lot of people from the public come, and we have this very limited capacity of facility that we have, but we can at least make something interesting for them so that they are inspired to come and visit us more. Because the most important thing is prasadam, good, they being welcomed, and then they having something to do which they can actually take back home in their memory. That, and this is all the small things, it's not the big things, it's all the small things that we do to actually make it memorable for them, that will actually make them appreciate. And it doesn't matter if they don't become devotees in 2 years, 3 years. Just the appreciation that they had is back to goes to Radha Gopinath, and we got Radharani who's like, oh my God, like this guy appreciated. And then she will take over. And our duty is just to, all this effort is just to make them appreciate what we're doing, rather than going out in a very bad mood, saying that these people are like, crazy. They don't know how to treat people. At least we can do that. We've done our service. Okay. Hare Krishna. I'll end the class. Any comments or questions? Yes, Prabhu.
Thanks for the class, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Also many Hare Krishna returns.
Thank you.
Prabhu, in the beginning you mentioned that upadrita,
Yeah.
disturbed,
Yeah.
always disturbed. And you said that no matter who it is,
Yeah.
that's a common scenario among all.
Yes.
Prabhu, can we actually say that extreme patience,
Yeah.
forbearance, especially 100% faith in the Lordships, or even when it comes to mundane things, for example, if one is like in IT,
Yeah.
programming, that kind of thing, do you think that would actually eliminate the disturbance factor? Faith in the Lordships, or faith in the birth there, or having patience? Do you think that
So are you saying like having too much patience also kind of will reduce the disturbance? In that way, the faith in the Lord is not as much as to a person who's disturbed. He will have like more. He needs to go reach out for help. So somebody who's having patience and is happy to be calm, then there is no option for him to reach out. Not really, Prabhu. In the sense, everybody has a different strengths and weaknesses. Certain situations will not escalate me, or will not unsettle me, but there are certain things which will unsettle me very easily. Like for example, if they just serve khichdi every day in the temple, I'll be very happy. It won't bother me anything. But when I go to anywhere, when I travel, when I see a child mistreated, or when I see a child begging in the street, it just, because I feel like, oh my God, that is not the situation that a child needs to be. Like there are certain things, and when I see sometimes like, the parents, even their own parents, mistreating the kids in the street, that actually like, the Kshatriya nature suddenly comes up. So some people might be able to handle certain things, but there are certain things they can't handle. So it's always a combination. It's always a combination. So they will be disturbed in some way or form. If money is there, then health will not be there. If everything is there, then the kid is not studying properly. So something, like I remember once Vrajnath Prabhu, I don't know if I should say this. Vrajnath Prabhu, I just got the bus from here. If you don't know, Vrajnath Prabhu, he used to live here, and I went to his classes in 2007. First class I attended, and they had the midweek break or something in his house. We used to have the Bhagavad Gita classes on Wednesdays. So this is way past, when he got married and had. So I was traveling in the bus. He's always a very cheerful person and everything. And then on the bus one day, he was like, I was saying Hare Krishna Prabhu, and he was like lost in thoughts. I said, what's happened to him? Is everything okay? I said, Prabhu, how are you? Everything. And he asked, how do you make Dipti eat? I said, what is the question? It's not philosophical, because I've always had the experience of asking philosophical questions. How do you make Dipti eat? I said, Prabhu, what's the problem? Because his son was very small and he was not eating anything. Just always eating little bit milk, little bit biscuit and everything, but not taking proper food. I'm so stressed, I don't know how to make this guy eat. How will he be strong and nutritious? And I'm like, Prabhu, okay, this is the problem. Okay, now I can. So for somebody who's having he's preaching to the youth, to the uni and everything, suddenly he's lost in thinking, my kid is not eating. What will happen to his health? So everybody has their own problems, and it's nice. I felt happy that he can say that, one of the main things that we lack or many people don't find is, who is the person who trusted companion or member that they can actually share these things and not feel judged. So that is one thing that we are working on as part of the CLT, to create a safe space for everybody to come up with issues. Giving the space for people to say their issues, open up with issues, and not feel that is going to backfire on them is one of the most important services that we need to do everywhere, and we are working towards it. So I would, any questions? So I would request all the online viewers and others as well, please reach out to the names or the voluntary coordination team for Janmashtami service, and we'll see how we can actually engage you as well. And I also want to say a lot of effort has also gone in to see how people are engaging in service to make them also feel nourished and make their service, them doing the service also enjoyable experience, rather than, okay, we need to do service, we are going to serve the people who are coming. No, the people who are serving also need to be taken care. So thank you for all your nice service as of now, and for the future as well. But yeah, the request for service will never stop. Hare Krishna.